Hi. Is Adam Rockman in here? Oh, no.
What's your name?
Eric Nakao.
And you're from where? You're a student or?
A student, yeah. Adam Rockman?
Yes.
Yes, my name's Eric Nakao. I'm a student here. And I've been having problems with the security. I was coming onto the campus to the Melbourne entrance.
Okay.
And then the security officer there, he said he wanted to see my ID. He saw me videotaping inside my bag.
You saw what?
Me videotaping inside my bag here.
Okay.
I was off campus at the time. He said he wanted to see my ID. I showed it to him, and I videotaped him looking at my ID to show proof that I was cooperating with him. And then he said it was okay or something like that, so I took my ID away and I went on my way because it seemed like there's nothing else that was happening.
Okay.
They kept following me around, and then I started to go in the library and he was still following me around. And he just said, he said it's basically the same thing, that he wanted to see my ID again, and I showed it to him again. I videotaped him again to show him that I was cooperating again. But that didn't seem to satisfy him. He just kept saying that I videotaped inside my bag off campus and that was suspicious. And I asked him what it was suspicious of, and he said it was just suspicious.
Okay.
He said, oh, there might be a bomb in there or something. So I said, call the police if you think there's a bomb in there, but he didn't call the police. And I said, but then I went to the front end of the front entrance of the library. He kept following me there. He said I couldn't enter or something like that. And I entered, I showed the guards there my ID and I entered as usual. I've been on.
Into the library?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been a student here for several years.
Excuse me. No.
And he said I couldn't enter or something like that. I said I've been entering here for many years. I've had this bag with me for many years and there's never been a problem. And he said he wanted to hold my ID card or something. He said that before, but I didn't want to hold it because he might not give it back to me after he was finished with it. So one of the female security guards at the library entrance said she wanted to look at it, so I showed it to her. I gave it to her actually, so I trusted her. But then she gave my card to the male guard at the Melbourne entrance. And then he wrote down my name or something in the pad. When I asked for the card back, he wouldn't give it back to me.
He didn't give it back to you?
I asked it for him several times. He wouldn't give it back to me. He wouldn't give me direct answers. And I asked him if I could leave or something like that. At some point, I'm not sure about the chronology of this. I'm not upset. But and then he called his supervisor or something. So I waited at the front of the library at the entrance, and then his supervisor came or whoever it was, and he asked me, the same question, or he said, what happened? He said that, he saw me videotaping inside my bag outside the campus, and I said, I've done nothing illegal, I'd like to go. He didn't give me any direct answer. He didn't say I could go or not go. He said, I'd rather you wouldn't go, or something similar to that. And he wouldn't give me back my card. And I didn't want to leave without my card.
This is the same security?
No, this is his supervisor or something like that.
And this is all happening in the lobby of the library?
Right next to the guards.
Okay.
I said, the female security guards, they've seen me before, so that I've been coming here for years with this bag, which seemed to be the problem, and videotaping also. And they denied ever seeing me before. And I said, well, maybe I'm not sure it was exactly them, but I've been coming in here for years with this bag. It's never been a problem before. So then I said I'd rather leave or something like that. So something happened that they called their other security sergeant Brooke or something like that.
Sorry, Brooks, okay.
And he came and he said, you know what's going on here? I said, no. And he said the same thing about videotaping outside the thing. And they can't, we're not allowed to videotape on campus, and if something happens, then they're going to investigate. And I said, there's nothing inside my bag. There's nothing illegal. I said, there's personal property, papers, and computer stuff, which I told the first officer and probably the second officer, and I told Sergeant Brooks now. And he said he wanted me to go to their main office down there by casino or something like that. I said I'd rather not because, I didn't really trust them. I feel like if I'm satisfying their conditions, and as soon as I do, they add something else, and you seem like they're never going to let me go or something like that. So I wanted to stay in the library where people were around, witnesses or whatever. And he just kept saying he wanted me to come and come with him. I said I'd rather not. I started videotaping him to get he said basically, either I said or he said that if I showed him what's in my bag, there's nothing illegal or nothing, illegal, and everything was mine, then it would be okay that I could go. I wanted a videotape of him saying that so I could have a record that was our agreement. He said he didn't want me to videotape him, so I stopped videotaping him. I asked him if he would write a written statement so I could have proof that this was our agreement. If I showed him what was in my bag, which I was willing to do, I said I was willing to do it. And there was nothing suspicious in there, that everything was mine. And I could go and I could have my ID card back. But he said he wasn't going to write any statement saying that was our agreement, and he wanted me to come with him still. I think he got on the phone and started talking to someone else, and I'm not sure who it was. So I just waited, and then I thought, well, I'll show him what's inside my bag. That'll satisfy at least what he said was the problem. So I started opening my bags and showing him what was in there. But then they exited the library and said, no, we don't see this. We're not going to come with us or something like that.
They said what?
They said they wanted us to come. They wanted me to come with them or something like that. Or
okay.
they're not looking. They're not seeing what I'm doing or something like that.
Okay.
But I kept showing stuff. I had food. I'm supposed to bring food anymore, I guess. But I wasn't eating it. I showed them that there's food, there's crackers, there's papers. And there's two male guards, two new guards there. And they were kind of looking at me too. They saw what I was showing them. Even if the first guards were gone. So, and then I decided to videotape me going through my bag. And I videotaped the first guards outside the library to show that they were in the area. Then they came back and they said, I don't see this. This is the Officer Brooks. I don't see this. Maybe come with us or something like that. But they weren't happy with what I was doing. I tried videotaping.
Let me just stop you for a second. What's the overall issue or problem that we're talking about here? Just so I have an idea of how we're framing this and what you're concerned about.
I'm concerned that I didn't do anything illegal. And I satisfied their condition about videotaping.
Okay.
So I was willing to show them what was in my bag. But they weren't willing to look. They wanted me to come to their office and do it.
Okay.
But I didn't trust them. I thought they would keep adding stuff on.
Okay. So then what ultimately happened?
Ultimately, either they left or something like that, or they stood outside the front part again. And I asked the regular security guards at the front of the library how I could get my card back or something. They said I couldn't get it. I had to talk to them or something. And who could I complain to about the guards? And they said Jefferson Hall or something. So I exited the front, and the guards followed me out. And he said he's acting like we were going to go down to their main office. I said I was going to Jefferson Hall. So I went to Jefferson Hall, and they kept going forward. I don't know where they went. But I didn't see anybody in Jefferson Hall that I felt that I can complain to. The security officers there, I felt like they were just going to say the same things. Since we got some high people, 3 levels of security officials, they were basically saying the same thing. They weren't giving me straight answers or anything like that.
Okay.
So I decided to come to you.
Okay. We can. The Office of Public Safety doesn't report to us. But what I can do, I'm sorry, Eric, is first of all, they didn't give you your ID back?
I asked for it numerous times. I asked each of these people to give it back to me, including Sergeant Brooks.
Okay. So you'll get it back eventually, just so you know that. And also so you know that campus security, actually any college official does have a right to request a student's ID. That is part of the student code of conduct, which you are required to follow being on campus, just so you know that. Okay. Now, obviously I can't speak to why they initially asked you for ID. If they said that they were suspicious because you were videotaping, fine. In this day and age, maybe you can't be too cautious about somebody videotaping public areas. And it is true that videotaping is not allowed on campus without having a prior permit by the Office of Communications. But regarding a complaint about how public safety was dealing with you and about the issues of you say that you would meet the whatever conditions they said, and then they would add more conditions and things like that. What I would recommend you do is you can put that in writing, a complaint in writing to my office, and I will make sure that the director of security and the vice president for finance and administration, who security reports to, I'll make sure that they both see your complaint and that somebody responds.
Who's the person above security?
The vice president for finance and administration.
Okay. Like, will anything bad happen to my record, or will I have problems with the library, or does he have my card, or?
No. I mean, it doesn't sound like there's been any kind of policy violation, and if public safety for some reason files an incident report, it's up to this office, my office, to determine if there was any kind of policy violation, and if so, what happens from that point. Meaning, how do we adjudicate the case? If what you're telling me is completely accurate, it doesn't sound like anything really was wrong. You complied with what public safety was asking you to do. You stopped videotaping when they asked you to stop videotaping. So I don't see this as being an issue. So I wouldn't be concerned about this. But I think you certainly have a right to file a formal complaint, like I said. And if you want to. The easiest thing to do, honestly, is to email that to my office's email account, and then I can make sure that the director of security and the vice president for finance and administration receive copies of that, and I would ask them to respond to your complaints.
Okay.
Given the VPSA, just put on that poster.
So I outlined trying to show them what was in my, comply with their request by showing them what was in my bag in the library instead of going to their office.
I'm sorry?
Was I out of line offering to show what was inside my
No, I
bag
don't think so.
in the library instead of their office?
I don't think so. I mean, you had a right. I would assume, again, unless they were placing you under arrest for something, which it doesn't sound like they were doing, because they would have told you that.
I'm going to let you go. I wouldn't let him go away.
Right, exactly. Unless they were placing you under arrest, you had a right. They asked you to go with them to their office. You had a right to refuse, which you did. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. Okay, this is our office email account. VPSA stands for Vice President of Student Affairs at qc.cuny.edu. So what I would recommend, Eric, is if you the best thing to do is send it from your Queens College email account. That way, it's just we know where these we can see your name and everything, and that way we know who it's from, and we can respond appropriately. So if you can send that to our office, like I said, I'll make sure that the director of security, his name is Pete Pinero, I'll make sure that he gets a copy of it, and that the vice president gets a copy of it, and that somebody responds to your concerns.
Okay. When should I hear from them, do you think?
Beg your pardon?
When should I hear from them?
It really depends. I mean, more often than not, you could. I think once you submit a written complaint, I would think within a matter of 2 weeks or less, you would hear from them. That's not a definitive term, but it's I think generally people will be able to respond in a matter of 2 weeks.
Okay,
So
thank you.
regarding your ID, you would be able to request that back from the public safety office, the main gate office. They took your ID to the main gate, then you'd be able to request it back there. And would if they refuse to give it back to you, they must have some reason, and they would have to they'd have to tell you what that reason is.
I asked them like 10 or 20 times in the library and they won't give me a reason. What if they do the same thing in their office?
You know, I don't know. Do you need your ID back immediately?
I'll probably need it sometime. I have to do things in the library and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I also have to go to the financial aid office and and do some things. So they'll probably have to see my ID there.
They can see if you have any other kind of photo ID. They can work with that. And same thing with the library. They can check you to make sure that you're a Queens College student just with any kind of photo ID. You can just let them know that public safety has your ID, and just in the meanwhile. But within a short period of time, they should be able to return the card to you.
You can call them now and ask them, say that I'm coming over to get my ID.
It's not for me to do that. I have to wait and see if they usually in any kind of case where they confiscate a student's ID, it's for a reason of a policy violation, and they'll let me know about that. They'll file an incident report. So I can't really ask them to return the ID, but I will. What I would do is I would go there if I were you. I would go there. By the end of the day today. Actually, they're open 24 hours. You can go there anytime.
Are you guys
and ask for your ID back. And if they say no, you just go on your way and put that in the complaint too that you requested your ID back, and they wouldn't give it back to you.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Have a good day.
Okay. I had some security officers confiscate my ID card, and I was told that I could get it back here.
You have it?
No. One second.
Okay.
Okay, at this time you're not going to be getting the ID back, so someone will probably be in contact with you, someone who's an administrative person of Queens College, to meet with you and talk with you and perhaps return the ID at that time. So I guess look out for a telephone call or something in the mail. Okay?
You can go up and see Student Affairs and Student Union for your ID.
You're going to send it to them?
Yeah. Go see them for your ID. Student Affairs.
Should I go? If I go there now, they'll have my ID?
You can go see them for your ID if you want. Now or whenever.
Hi, is he in? This is Adam.
Adam?
Yeah. I was out at the guard thing. They said to come back to your office to...
I already called them and told them that you would be going to get your ID. I talked with them about 30 minutes ago.
Oh, 'cause I was there just right after I went here, and the guy...
It was probably just before I was able to call them, because I had another student come in. But I talked with the supervisor, Medina, her name is. Sergeant Medina. So you can ask for her or the supervisor on duty. If they have any, I called them and asked them to return your ID to you, and they said that they would do it. So,
okay. So I think I talked to a Latin female called Medina. She said I'd hear from them and then to come back, and then
it was probably just before I got to speak with her.
Okay.
Yeah, so she was expecting, that you would be coming back. So
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Are you Medina?
Yes.
Oh, I talked to Adam Rockman at Student Affairs. He said you had my ID card or something. Okay. And if you want to contact me, especially contact me by email. I'll give you my email address. You read it?
Let's see. MITI@yahoo.com.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.